Hey guys, it's Amanda.
And Kristin.
And before this episode begins, we just wanted to preface it by saying, just like our It episode that we posted earlier this week, the audio quality is not what we strive for, but there was a technical issue with our mics, my mic, when we were recording that we did not hear through our stereo headphones. And we did not realize it until we were editing. So we apologize for the audio quality. We could have re-recorded this, but this is a very raw, emotional response to this movie. And we felt that it would take away from that if we re-recorded it. So we apologize for the audio quality, but hope you enjoy. My name is Amanda.
And I'm Kristin.
And we are the Exorcisters. Hi.
Hi.
I'm not going to say to relax and let's get creepy, because the movie we are about to talk about, it was creepy, I guess, but more so it was too real for me to just be cutesy, and I just can't do it. So we just saw Tigers Are Not Afraid, and this is our 14th hype episode. It's also kind of even weird calling it like a hype episode. Yeah. Because the last one we did was Ready or Not, and it was so fun, and it was a blast. And this one we just kind of, you saw, and you keep up with horror news. Yeah. And saw that there was a buzz about it.
Yeah, there was an article about, first of all, this was a woman director, which is amazing. That's what we try to keep up with. That's great. And that it might come up as best horror movie of the year. And I was like, we've got to go see it. We can't miss the best horror movie that's by a woman director.
Exactly. And so we live in Colorado Springs, and we saw that the Alamo Draft House in Littleton, which is in the Denver area, was going to have a showing of it. Which Alamo Draft Houses are fun if you don't have one. It's like a dine-in theater. You get a little table and they bring you like a full, full bar and everything. Cool. And so we were like, oh, this is going to be fun. It's a horror movie. It's foreign. It's a Mexican horror film.
Guillermo del Toro was hyping it. Yeah. Stephen King was hyping it. Everyone was so excited about this.
Yes. And actually, we bought the tickets. You bought the tickets. Yeah. And then, like, the next day, Shudder was like, we have it. Yeah. And I was like, I fucking could have just watched it on Shudder. Yeah. But I'm so glad that I didn't.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine watching this just sitting on your couch or something.
This movie... And also, I would like to mention, if you hear background noise, we were not planning on recording tonight.
No, we weren't.
We were going to wait till tomorrow morning.
But after it, we just had to do it now.
We had an hour drive home, and we were like, we got to record this tonight because I can't go to bed, like, thinking about this and have to deal with it again tomorrow. Because it's not even like a horror movie. Like, it is a horror movie, but it's, like, too real.
It's like the real horrors of life. It's not jump scares and stuff like that.
It's incredibly disturbing. Like... Yes. It was like a movie that needed to be made, and I think to broaden the audience spectrum, they were like, let's add some paranormal elements in a tasteful way. And it mixes being a child caught in the middle of the drug wars in Mexico and being parentless because your parents have been murdered, often in front of you, with a paranormal ghost part of it. Yeah. And, you know... I say we didn't plan on recording tonight, mostly to give you a disclaimer that, like, I didn't prepare the people in my house to be quiet. I have a dog running around, so you might hear her call her, so I apologize, but we got to get this out of the way. This probably won't be very long.
Yeah. I don't know what to say other than you guys really need to watch it. It's on Shudder now.
Yeah, you can stream it on Shudder, and I know that it did have a limited release, and I don't think it'll still be out in theaters when this comes out. Unfortunately, but it actually hit the film circuit in 2017.
Yeah, it just took a while for someone to actually pick it up, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Go Shudder.
Yeah, and I have to say, when this movie ended, you know, usually after a movie, even if people aren't getting up yet because the house lights are still down, people start, like, moving around, collecting their things, just shuffling. It was dead silent. No one fucking moved. You couldn't hear breath being taken. Yeah. And I, during the credits, almost just started sobbing. Like, it deeply affected, I think, everybody in the theater. emotionally.
Well, it was touted as a horror movie. That's what all the trailers were. That's what the poster was. That's what the synopsis says. I don't think that anybody in that theater was really expecting what we got.
I was not emotionally prepared.
No.
I mean, you have to think, like, so the premise, it's really hard to even go there. Again, the premise of this movie is there's a gang of street kids and trying to survive from the cartel, from these different cartel gangs. And they get into this issue with these adults that are coming after them to try to kill them. And they're like, but probably between the youngest one maybe being like 7 and the oldest one being like 11.
Yeah.
Young kids. And they're each other's families. They don't have parents. All of their parents have been burned, stolen, gunned down, worse. And so they're being chased by these cartel members. And this little girl, she came home one day from school after there was a shooting outside her school, and classes were canceled, and her mother was gone. And they were talking about fairy tales in school, and I believe it was the teacher that gave her just like 3 little pieces of chalk to kind of calm her down and said, make 3 wishes. Well, her wishes are coming true to an extent, but every time she makes a wish, something terrible happens. And, you know, she wishes for her mother to come back. And that's when the paranormal aspect comes into it. And there will be spoilers here.
I kind of don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to either. But a paranormal aspect, there is one, and it is creepy. But the more disturbing part is these kids are being hunted. Successfully, honestly, in some cases. And you see, what really got me was these kids are on the run, and they have these scenes of them dancing to music, and they find soccer balls, and they get to play soccer. And when you see them just be kids, I cried every time. This movie is a very well done political piece.
Absolutely.
It's an awareness piece, and something I said on the way home, which might be a little sensitive, I guess, but that I feel is important, is it really made me think about my privilege a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
As an American, as a white American, and I really highly recommend this, but you just need to know what you're going into, because I was not prepared. Like, you looked at me and you were like, you do not look okay. And I was like, I'm fucking not okay.
You look like you're emotionally destroyed.
I was emotional. I am. Like, right now I'm trying to, like, I just don't have words. Like, this is going to be the shortest review ever because, like, I mean, 5 out of 5, but I don't even feel right rating it.
Rating it? I know. I thought of that too. Like, it just should be seen. It's just an incredibly important movie that should be seen. And taken to heart, not just watched and walked away from.
Yeah. I mean, see it as a horror fan and enjoy the paranormal part of it. Which, yeah, I think we both have just decided that we're not going to spoil this movie and tell you what that paranormal part is. Because it's
really important.
It is important. And,
this is the first time I think I have been totally stumped on what to say on a movie.
I feel
because it's so good.
Well, I think that the reaction of the audience captured it perfectly. We were all in a movie hangover. We didn't know. Do we just get up and leave now? Like,
do you just go about your lives now?
Yeah.
What do you do now?
It was just so disturbing and gut wrenching to, like, the core of being a human being that I just don't know what to say. Like, I've never been affected like this by watching a movie.
Let me just say really quick, when we say disturbing, it's not gory or things like that. This is emotionally disturbing.
Yeah. And I don't think that we're being, it was funny because I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a little bitch and cry on a podcast, but I felt it bubbling from the end of the movie till now, and now I'm talking about it, and I'm like, I'm fucked up again.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was nervous about this because I was like, oh my god, like, they're saying it's this year's Hereditary, and by that I don't mean like a similar movie, I just mean like Hereditary was like best of 2018.
Yeah.
So that's this year's movie. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be so fucking scary. And I was like, I should get a glass of wine. And then I was like, no, because if it's too scary, it's going to be bad. I am so glad that I didn't fucking get a glass. I may have had to leave the theater.
Yeah, you would have just been destroyed.
Mm-hmm. You would have had to have been like, okay, I'm going to have to watch the rest of this movie by myself. It's streaming on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder, honestly, I probably shouldn't even say this for Shudder, but it's not like they sponsor us or anything. So they have a trial. Mm-hmm. You have to remind yourself to cancel it or they're going to charge you. But honestly, for this movie, you should do the free trial even if you're not going to keep it and watch this fucking movie.
And honestly, please watch it because that's going to go in their numbers that people actually cared about this movie. Because go Shudder for giving it a freaking chance.
Yeah, I mean, I have a Shudder stream, membership because we do this podcast, and I probably wouldn't otherwise, just because, like, I watch a lot of horror, but not a lot of, like, I know this is going to sound kind of, I don't know, whatever, but I don't watch a lot of no-name horror or, like, indie horror unless it's stuff like this.
Yeah, and fear of bad horror.
Right, and so, like, Shudder, you just kind of think, oh, it's kind of like goes straight, back in the day, straight to VHS,
Exactly.
But I honestly will probably keep my Shudder membership regardless, just because I think they're making some good decisions, and now they're starting to pick up movies and kind of do their own, and
yes.
I think that it's going to be, I do think eventually, once they, get up their funding, and if they're doing stuff like this, obviously they're going to, it's probably going to be a Netflix of horror. Like, that's what it is, but I just mean in quality. Like, the quality of Netflix series are incredible, and I think that Shudder will be right behind them. And I think that it's great that somebody saw this and said, even if it's only for a couple days, this has to go to theaters.
Yep.
Send it to Alamo Drafthouse and Studio Movie Grill and some of the more, like, the theaters that do events, send it to Fathom and Fandango and have them put it in theaters and tell people it's a horror movie and tell them that it's going to be creepy and then hit them with this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they did, but man, I was not ready. And I'm going to be reeling from it. This is not one of those where I can just go watch, Bob's Burgers or South Park and go to sleep. Like, I will probably be up. It's 11 o'clock. And I go to bed like 10:30, 11, maybe midnight on the weekends. I may be up like most of the night just trying to recover. Which is great that a movie was that powerful. Truly. It's just, it was so powerful because it was just so horrific. Like, you were talking about horror versus terror.
Yeah.
Like, what we watch, you said, were terror movies.
Yeah, so the essential definition between horror and terror, what we watch are actually not horror movies. What we talk about are not horror movies. They're actually called terror movies, and that's just something that's not real that still scares you. Horror is that deep-seated, this is a real horror in our society or in the society of the Mexican, what the cartels are doing. That is horrifying, what's going on.
So, go get your free Shudder membership. And there are some good things on there, so I recommend you keep it. I have used it a few times and enjoyed it, but now I'm going to go through their library. What else do you got? And something else we were talking about is I've never seen a hyped up, foreign horror film that I haven't really thoroughly enjoyed. So if you've got any foreign horror recommendations, we were just talking about how we think that we're missing such a huge scope of horror, because we're watching what's American made.
We never would have even heard about that one. Bloody Disgusting didn't really talk about it, and all of that until I looked at a random news article, so we're definitely missing out. Yeah,
so if you have any recommendations on foreign horror that it needs to have English subtitles at least, preferably, but email it to us because we really want to kind of take another look at some of those and see what we've been missing. And if it's some things like these, I really think that they're important and they should be talked about, and maybe that's something we can figure out how to incorporate into our schedule or or something somehow. So Tigers Are Not Afraid gets a 5 out of 5, but in a really this is a serious movie, and if you're going to go see it, just, I think, be prepared for that. You know, if I had a warning, I probably wouldn't have cried during a podcast episode. Maybe, probably, but I wouldn't be as floored because I would have at least had a warning. Mm-hmm. So you should see it 100%. Yeah. And I just don't really have anything else to say. I thought it was a beautiful movie. It was so well done, and it was heartbreaking. And the director was also the producer, and she did exactly what she set out to do, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was, in my opinion, it was executed flawlessly. If I said anything about technical things, the only thing that jarred me was the camera motion was very shaky, but it was not supposed to be perfectly polished. It's a gritty movie. It's exactly living on the streets, and I'm only a baby because I get motion sickness really easy. But go see Tigers Are Not Afraid. Let us know what you think, but this is not something that I am open to debating. So you're not going to get a rise out of me if you thought it was stupid, or I just don't see how that's possible. But I'd love to know how you felt after watching this movie. So if you do see it, email us, and I just am curious as to what your reaction is, and I don't hope that it destroys you, but at the same time, that's what it's supposed to do. So I hope that you take something from it at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not going to end it usually, so 5 out of 5, and bye, you guys.
See you next time. We're going to go cry now. Bye.